Good morning, good people of the internet. I've got some energy today, so I'm going to do some long-awaited chores. And the first thing on that list, and my main focus for today, is to repot these bad boys over here. Now, on first look, you might see some of these Anthurium Forgetii cuttings are a little bit worse for wear, and that is exactly why I'm going to be repotting these today. They're sitting in this pot of pond that I occasionally put a little bit of water in here that acts like a bit of a reservoir, and that have seemed to be keeping these alive for the best part of a year. But I think now is the time to get these in their own pot so that they can actually start growing properly and get ready for the spring, where I plan to sell these on my eBay store. So let's get this sorted. I'm in a slightly different location today because I need to stand up to do this. Last time I did this, it took me like an hour to repot all of these plants. I think I had a lot more, so hopefully I could do this in about half an hour, fingers crossed. I've got all of the tools that I need. I've got some pots, and I don't know if I'll have enough to pot all of these up today, but we'll see how far we get. And most importantly, we have our soil. This soil was kindly gifted to me by Botanica. I'm really interested and excited to see what this soil has. I did select some specific Anthurium soil, so we'll see how we get on with this, and yeah, we'll track the growth to see how the plants get on, because I have historically grown my Anthuriums in pond or in a semi-hydro mix. So this will be the first time in a long time that I'm growing these seedlings from soil. So I'm excited to see how Botanica's soils support my plants in their growth. First things I want to say is excellent packaging. Really good stuff. So as I said, I've got an Anthurium mix here. So this is a 5 litre premium Anthurium mix. Let's see what's on the packet here. So you can see we've got, it says super chunky and airy, so that's really good. That's exactly what our Anthuriums want. And it says peat free as well. So again, really good stuff here. Also have a premium mix. When I ordered this one, I was thinking this is going to be a bit more multi-purpose. I've got lots of aeroids, so we can definitely do this. And if I ever run out of the Anthuriums, I'm sure they will do okay in this one. How nice. They've also left a lovely little note in here just to say thank you for purchasing from them. Alrighty then. So what is my method of attack here? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out, and then I'm going to start potting them up. Now the reason why I want to do that firstly is because if I can carefully lift this up, have a look under here, there are lots and lots of roots. I've recently watered this, so there's water coming out at the bottom, but there are lots of roots under there, so I need to be quite careful when doing so. I'm just gonna slowly start to remove these plants and get them ready for their new lives in soil. Just gonna slowly try to remove these. You can see we have some plants that are smaller than others. I'm gonna put the really tiny ones to a side, because what I might do is just pot these up together, and I'm going to be really careful to not damage the roots. So I'm going to give it just a little tug as I'm pulling it up, and that lets me know if it's really connected to the bottom there. I'm also going to be cleaning these up, getting rid of those dead leaves. Of course, when I get ready to sell these on, I am only going to be selling the ones that look the best. I don't like to sell plants on that don't look good enough, so I don't think these are quite ready to go out into the world just yet. I'm gonna have to wait and see how they grow, how they develop. Look at that mat of roots here. Look at that. Yeah, that's how you know these things are ready to be moved on, I think. So we're just gonna continue just working our way through, being careful not to damage any of the plants. It's really surprising to see that these plants have been in here for a year, and some of them are so small, so tiny, like this one, and others are so much bigger. We'll just keep working at it. I do think that this soil will just help to give these plants just that little extra perk that it needs. It's gonna have all the nutrients to really just give it all the sustenance that it needs. But importantly as well, it means that it can retain a good amount of moisture, because what I struggle with sometimes, especially when I get into my lazy periods, when I tend not to care for my plants as much as I should, these ones tend to dry out quite quickly just because it's in semi-hydro, right? So as well as the plants using it up, and there's so many plants in here, it's easier for the water to evaporate out of. See, look at that. This definitely needs a good bit of water, I think. Yeah, it just evaporates out to the elements much quicker, I find, than than soil. So I think this transition is very well needed. It's overdue really. I think these plants are going to need a couple of months still to acclimate and sort themselves out, get used to the soil, start growing a couple of new leaves, and that's before I even think about putting it up on eBay or anything like that. Trying to separate these out by doing like really tiny plants, medium ones, and the ones that are closer to being a bit more well established. Those ones will obviously be potted up first, and then the other ones afterwards. What I find interesting about these Forgetii plants is sometimes they start to grow and they do have, the first few leaves do have that a bit of a lobe. I remember I sold one to somebody once, and it was about this size and it had the lobe, and they thought it wasn't a Forgetii, but it definitely is, because it will start like that and then it will eventually close that sinus off. And if I find one, a good example of it sort of changing over time, I'll point it out. I don't know if that's just my Forgetii that does that, or if all of them do, but in most cases mine, they do start off with a bit of a sinus. All right, so that's done. So I'm going to put these this semi-hydro mix to the side for now. We can then start to pot these plants up. Some of these things are very big. Their roots are just a bit too big for these small pots, so I'm going to have to start with these smaller ones first, and I'll get something else for that. I'm thinking I'll get some plastic cups for these ones, because they work just as well and cheaper than getting containers. These medium-sized plants, I'm definitely going to pot these up individually actually. So we're just going to get this soil, dump some in, chuck the plant in like so, and backfill. It's as easy as that to pot these up. Just a quick look at this soil as I go. There are bits of wood in here. I can see some cocoa fiber as well. That might make up the majority actually, and there's a lot of perlite in here, so definitely all good stuff for the plants. And as I said, there's no peat in here, so you don't have to worry about that. This is the part of plant care that I find really therapeutic. You just get to zone out, which is why I'm so quiet at the moment. You just get to zone out and think about nothing else than just potting these bad boys up. It's really something for the mental health, I'm telling you guys that. If you get into plant collecting for nothing more than just your mental health, trust me, it's good enough. It is good enough. We still have these really small ones, and as I said, I'm going to actually pair these up. There are some decent sized ones like this, but then at the same time we have some fallbacks like that are absolutely tiny. So we're going to try to pair those up, one half decent with one really stunted one. Some of these might not even make it. We'll do our best. Just put it in, a little bit of backfill, and then yeah, just top it up like so. I've still got all of these to do. I really can't believe I turned around and I said that I need to go get more pots. I've got a shed full of pots, so although they're going to be all different shapes and sizes, I think it's going to work just fine. So we'll carry on where we left off, potting these up as best as we can. So what I've done is I've gone ahead, got the right amount of pots that I need. I've washed them up as well, because I tend not to wash them up as soon as if I take a plant out of a pot, I don't really wash it up. I just throw it into my shed and then I wash it as and when I need it. So I've had to wash up 16 pots, I believe it is. I think the next challenge is going to be finding somewhere to put all of these plants so they can just carry on growing. That's going to be the real challenge, I think. But I'm sure we'll find a space for them. I am confident. Now we can start to focus on these larger ones here. And now that I've got some good pots, I'm not too worried. This is my little way of recycling. Just keep every single pot that I have. Does anyone else do that? You just hoard as many of the pots as you can. Because I certainly do. I am definitely going to need to break into that other bag of aeroid mix. It hasn't been undersold to me. This is a really good quality soil actually. I really like this. It's very airy. I think my plants are really going to enjoy this soil actually. I think it might be easier if I dump this in here and then mix in some of that aeroid mix. Give it a little bit of a mix just to incorporate everything. and carry on where we left off. We are finito. There we go, all done. Got a couple over here as well. As you can see, got lots of little pots all potted up over there. Then we've got some larger ones. I don't really like these circular ones because they don't stack as well as these. Look how nicely those ones are stacked up. These ones just don't do it as well. But anyway, when you're in a pinch, you've got to make it work. And there we have it. This is the first big repot of 2025. It was a nice relaxing one, especially for me anyway, just to unwind and do this. And I wanted to bring you guys on the journey with me. A massive thanks to Cyber Soils for sending me a sample of their premium mixes. They've kindly offered all of you a 10% discount if you use the link in the description below. So go check them out to see the huge range of soil mixes and additives that you could use to support your plant's growth well into the new year. Again, a massive thank you for the support. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep planting.